Hey guys, welcome back to the garden. This week I'm going to take you through how I went from planting in containers in an apartment to designing and planning this garden. I'm going to give you some examples of how to plant a container, how to plant a medium-sized bed, and even how to plan and organize a giant garden like mine. I'm going to put everything into sections or chapters so you can just skip to the part that you need. And if you're anything like me, do you see the weeds? This is out of control. I'm gonna give us a weekly to-do list to get our gardens back under control and back and ready to go full force come spring. And at the very end, if you make it to the end, I always put beautiful B-roll, which is just the most beautiful shots from the garden from the last week or two. All right, let's get into it. Before we can plan a garden, we need to know what can go into it. Now, because we're at the end of December, that means I'm really planning what can I sow now that I can harvest in 2 or 3 months. So that's like our very early spring garden. There's a couple of categories that do really well with the cold. Things like alliums. So alliums are your onions, your garlic, your chives, your leeks, your green onions. All of those actually need a cold period to signal them to bulb. Otherwise, they won't form the bulb. Then there's other things like roots, like carrots are sweeter if they're sown in the winter, and the cold actually signals them to change their starches to sugars. So I much prefer winter sown carrots to summer carrots. Then we've got brassicas that are very cold hardy. Brassicas is a whole family of plants that include things like broccoli, cabbage, kale, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. I think that's most of them. I'll put them all on the screen so you can see. You've got your leafy greens, things like lettuce and spinach, Swiss chard, arugula. Those type of leafy greens do just fine with some cold. You've got flowers. There's actually quite a few flowers that need that cold period to be able to grow and flower and bloom. Herbs. A lot of herbs actually do better with the cold than you'd think, and perennial herbs take a very long time to start from seed, somewhere between 8 and 12 weeks. So now is a good time to get them started so that they're ready to be able to be transplanted out in the garden. Now, it doesn't matter if you're planting food, perennials, or flowers, just ornamentals. Same concept. You want something tall in the center. So if you're gonna do herbs, you could do rosemary, you could do lavender. Those both grow upright. If you, for herbs for spilling, you could do thyme, mint, dill, oregano, sage. There's so many options. Cilantro does actually pretty well in the chillier times, parsley, tons of options for herbs. And those will both fill and spill because those are gonna just kind of take over the space and grow out. For vegetables in the winter or in the early spring cold months, for upright, I'm gonna do a brassica. So I could do kale, cabbage, broccoli, just something that's gonna grow upright and give me a lot of structure. Then I'm gonna fill in with some kind of leafy green. So like a lettuce, an arugula, a Michelin mix, something along those lines. And then spill. It's a little bit trickier in the winter. I might try nasturtiums, but I don't have any personal experience with nasturtiums in the winter. I'm not sure how they would do. But we're gonna use those same concepts in every single bed of the garden. We wanna fill in, we want something tall. If it's a small container like this, we do the tall in the center. If it's a raised bed, depends on if it's against a wall or if it's in the center. You're gonna do either something tall in the middle so that you can have beauty from both sides, or if it's a backdrop, you put the tall thing at the back. Let's talk medium-sized bed. Again, I'm gonna go with the principles, since this is against a wall or a fence, tallest in the back. I would probably chance growing English peas along here just to give some height and some interest and some greenery on the wall. Then I would put a couple of brassicas in front. Choose your favorite brassica. I like broccoli the best, so I would do broccoli and kale. There's room for 3, so I would do broccoli, kale, broccoli, because I like symmetry, I like formal. If you want it to be a little bit looser, don't do symmetry. You could do broccoli, kale, and cauliflower. That's still pretty symmetrical, but there will be a little bit of differences. You just don't want it to be super lopsided or unbalanced. I would throw in some flowers like calendula or German chamomile. Those do pretty well in the cold or the chillier months. And then around the front, I would have herbs spilling out. Thyme, there's no such thing as too much thyme. I also really love sage. So I'd probably do thyme, sage, maybe try some nasturtiums, some oregano. Just put in what you're gonna use the most. And the general rule is, if it's gonna be floppy and like fall over, put it at the edge so it can spill over and soften this edge. If it's gonna be structural and upright, you're gonna put it in the middle or the back. And if it's a climber, you put it on the back so it can climb up. Now in this particular bed, because this is full shade, I couldn't plant most of those things. Because it gets full shade in the winter, it gets sun in the summer, but the angle of the sun is lower in the winter. So this is full shade. So I cannot plant anything that is gonna either produce fruit, like a broccoli would be a fruit, or anything that's gonna make a root. So I couldn't do carrots or radishes or anything like that. I could still try, just I would expect it to not work very well. I would probably just turn this into a salad bed. So just plain green salad. I could do Michelin mix, red leaf, anything, just a nice salad bed, fill it in, and I'm good to go. Now, it matters which way my watering runs. All right, now I have my watering system coiled up so that it's not in the way for me working the soil, but it just runs in, it's a drip, and it just comes straight down here in lines. What that means is, if I try to chop it into sections like this and grow something different in each section, that's gonna be tricky unless every single thing has the exact same moisture requirements, which is very rare. So what I'm gonna do, in the plan, I'm gonna put some onions on this side, a couple rows of onions, some brassicas down the middle, and then garlic and lettuce on this side. Now, realistically, I usually plan too many things to fit in a space, but when I get there, I'm pretty good at knowing what's gonna fit. So if that's too much, what I'm probably gonna end up doing is 1 row of onions, big row of brassicas down the middle, interplanted with some greens, and then another row of onions over here. But that gives me something small on the edges. They're gonna have beautiful bulbs with really spiky foliage. The center would be tall and strong and structural, and then a little bit of loose or leafy greens in the middle is really gonna soften it, plus give me some salad, and I enjoy eating. So it's a win-win-win. This week's gardening chores We're gonna continue to chip away at cleanup. We're gonna clean up any disease, damage, or dead plants, as well as try to weed and regain some of our old garden beds. These tasks can be overwhelming. It's okay to just do a little piece at a time. We're gonna gather our seed starting supplies. Things like trays, inserts, pots, labels, garden marker, seeds, etc. We're gonna gather those together to make starting seeds easier. We're gonna collect leaves. These are a great free way to improve your soil. It improves the soil structure and nutrients. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful. I put a lot of effort in to try to make it so that you could understand the process and feel empowered to do it yourself. If you have any questions or comments, please put it down below so that I can understand how to improve for you guys for next time. Next time, I'm gonna go over how to start seeds inside and in the ground and what to do. And I'm gonna leave you with some B-roll right over here. We have got a little nest in here of birds, and I've captured them coming in and out. So I hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you guys next time.